Can everybody hear me a little bit better this time? Hopefully this sounds a little bit more clear.
It does.
Wonderful. All right, so I will just really quickly recap what I was talking about in CPD, just in case anybody missed anything. CPD is going to be really helpful, the Center for Professional Development. They will be really helpful with networking opportunities. They'll be really helpful with connecting you to local alumni who are in a particular area of practice that might be of interest to you. They're also going to have annual meetings with you to help you make sure that you're on the path towards your career goals. And they are actually, for the most part, attorneys who were in practice prior to coming back to the law school to assist with Center for Professional Development. And so they have a lot of collective years of experience to help get our students on the right path. So we're going to turn around back now and head out into the atrium and continue our tour. So as we walk, we're going to just really quick recap a few things that maybe you missed at the beginning due to technical difficulties, and I apologize about that. But we are on the second floor of the law school right now, out of technically 4 floors. Dean, so that would be where our Dean Williams, that is where her office is held, as well as the fundraising and alumni outreach offices right now. The admissions office is where we started back at the beginning, and back behind admissions is actually where an office called Student Affairs is. Dean Rucker is the Dean of Student Affairs. She is an amazing person who is just so attuned to what's happening with students here at the law school. And she is the type of person that you would go to if you are having problems, maybe making your schedule work because of family. Or maybe you have an unexpected passing in your family, or maybe you have a health complication that comes up during this semester. She's going to be your go-to person for making sure that law school is still something that you can fit in a healthy way into your life, and she is really, really incredible. So behind me over here, this is the entrance to the Urban Morgan Institute. So the Urban Morgan Institute for Human Rights here at the law school is one of several centers that runs fellowship program here within the law school. Many of you, if you have applied or been admitted, you already are aware of the fellowship programs. This is the UMI, or the Human Rights office. So if you have applied for one of those fellowships, this is where those offices are. For those of you that don't know, Urban Morgan Institute here at the University of Cincinnati College of Law is actually responsible for publishing Human Rights Quarterly, which is one of, if not the premier human rights journal by professionals from around the world that's actually published every single year. And our law students get to actively take part in editing, which is really, really neat. And that can even start your first year, which is also very unique for law students. So continue down around the corner. For those of you that can see where I'm standing right now, this is actually our trial courtroom. So this room is used for what we call at the University of Cincinnati experiential learning. Experiential learning means we want to get you out of a chair behind a desk and on your feet and practicing something, doing something that you might do someday in practice. So this room is used to practice on your feet litigation skills, such as oral arguments, such as interviewing witnesses, whether that's on a cross or on a direct examination, whether it's practicing standing objections, which I think are very important to understand if you're going to be an active litigator. There are many, many different types of law that you can practice coming out of law school. A lot of students here at the University of Cincinnati find themselves aligning themselves into one of our 9 professional tracks, which have been created to help kind of guide your career outcomes. That includes a criminal law track, a commercial or corporate law track, an international law track, a public interest track, and a handful of others. Depending on which track you choose, and they are not required, you don't have to choose a track, they're more like guidelines. You might spend some time in this room preparing to actively go out and be a part of litigation. Not every lawyer has to be a litigator, by no means, but for some people, that's a very enjoyable part of doing the law. I myself was a part of trial team and am a part of trial team. We spend a lot of time in this room. Trial team is something that you can audition for at the end of your first year, to participate in during your second and third year. And our trial team competes all over the country. And primarily those competitions are in criminal law areas, although there are competitions in which other topics are addressed, but they are all on your feet, doing interviews with witnesses, interacting with judges, and all of that kind of active litigation that's happening. So this is a great room. We also have a lot of employers that come and spend time in this room. Very bright orange jury seats. I don't know if you can see over there. I don't know if any of you have ever watched Mad Men, but this courtroom could literally be straight out of a set from the Mad Men TV series. So we love it. It's very unique. It's a great place to practice some of the skills that are really essential down the road as an attorney. We will duck out and head on down the hallway. How are you? We're doing a virtual tour of the law school. For those of you that don't know, that's Mike Tadal. Mike is one of our tech gurus here at the law school. He makes everything run from computers to phones to a lot of different things. He's one of our essentials that we couldn't live without. So here we are in the back entrance of the law school. Up to my left, you will see these huge, gorgeous paintings that are actually paintings of exonerees from a program in our law school called the Ohio Innocence Project. OIP has been here now since, I believe, since the early 2000s. It was founded by current and still executive director Mark Godsey. He is also a professor of criminal law here at the law school, and he has a team of attorneys that work with him just up on kind of the first and a half floor. It's kind of a funky construction, but we're actually not going to take you in there right now, so I wanted to talk to you about it here. OIP at the moment has exonerated 28 people who are wrongly incarcerated from crimes that they were accused of. And these people here, the three of them, and there are some smaller drawings on the wall, are actually folks that they have been successful in getting out of prison. And this is just such an important and essential program to what we do here. Every single year, they accept between 20 and 25 students from the 1L class to become OIP fellows, which means that over your first summer, you will spend 40 hours a week here as an intern with their office, working on these cases, working to get more people out of prison. And then you will spend 10 hours a week your entire second year in this program as well. It's really, really essential. If you are interested in criminal law, if you're interested in human rights law, if you're interested in social justice, becoming a part of the OIP program is like liquid gold on a resume. And it's a great experience. You're going to learn so much, and you're going to really benefit from it. So I would really recommend looking into it if you're interested. Unlike some of the fellowship programs in the building, OIP actually takes students who apply during your first year. So if you have been admitted, there is no pressure to think that you've lost all of your opportunities if you haven't applied for it now, because you'll have an opportunity to apply for OIP, the OIP program again during your first year. So now we're going to head on to the third floor. Actually, if you can peek inside here, we can't take you in there because of confidentiality reasons, but you can peek inside. This is actually the OIP office. Just give them a quick glance around. Perfect. And then we'll continue on up the upstairs. Most of the time, those doors are locked because they have a lot of very important files in there that they don't want all of us to be able to walk through. So here we go, and we'll head on up to the third floor. So here we are up on the third floor of the law school. One of the important things that's up here that will kind of give you a little bit of perspective about your later years at the University of Law School, but as well as a program that's right at the beginning. These are our seminar rooms. So as you can see, this room doesn't seat very many people, usually about 15. During your second and third year, you have the opportunity to take a seminar and a writing course. These are typically going to be much, much smaller courses that are on a little bit more of a niche topic, such as habeas corpus law, or the death penalty, or a really obscure piece of tax litigation that you might be really interested in. They're going to be smaller courses, typically taught by adjuncts. They are going to really deep dive into an area that you might find so interesting and engaging to you. The other thing that we use these rooms for is a program called SSG. So that's structured study groups. These are a first year, first semester program in which second and third year students, usually about 25 to 30 of them, are each given a group of 1Ls, usually 5 to 6 1Ls, to meet with on a weekly basis over the first 12 weeks of law school. So this is a voluntary program in which law students, first year law students, have the opportunity to come alongside an older law student and gain skills like how to take effective notes, how to prepare an outline for final exams, how to write for final exams, how to study, how to brief, a lot of the really just basic fundamental skills, which if you can learn really early on to master in law school, they are going to help you be successful over the entire course of law school. That's the first 12 weeks of your first semester. It's usually pretty well participated in. We usually have about a 90% participation rate from the 1L class. But it is not mandatory, so it's an optional thing that you can take part in. But these seminar rooms are pretty frequently during the first semester of law school going to be populated with SSG groups during the week for hour-long meetings. So as a 1L, you might spend some time up here, even though you won't be in seminar and writing courses until later on in your 2L and 3L year. So let's keep going. There are a handful of seminar rooms up here. I like showing off this one over here, just because it has an outdated, really giant map on the wall. And this room is a little bit bigger, so some of the other kind of upper level niche area courses are going to be offered up in classrooms like this. One of the things to remember about Cincinnati Law is that we're not a huge law school. Your incoming class will probably be between 120 and 135 students, and that's not very many. We take an approach in the first year of dividing our incoming class into what we call sections. So for instance, I was section 3. This summer, you guys will all receive your section assignments. And typically what that's going to look like is we will lump you with about 20 to 25 other first year students, and your schedules will mirror each other. So all of the section 1 will have the same schedule, section 2, and what we'll do is we'll divide up your courses by those section numbers. So just your section will have a certain class by itself, and then other times you might have classes with sections 2, 3, and 4. But what that does is it helps keep your overall class sizes really small, which I think is very important. And it also helps just create that kind of safe, healthy environment that a small classroom creates, where you can have very personal interactions with your professors. And honestly, I will tell you, most of my professors and I know each other by they know my first name. When they see me walking down the hallway outside of class, we talk and we exchange. We just exchange pleasantries and all that kind of stuff. It's a really nice, positive atmosphere, and we keep the class sizes pretty small in order to ensure that. So we're gonna pop out back now and head down this way. So to my left here is another important law school institution called Moot Court. For those of you that don't know what Moot Court is, I'm about to tell you. So like I said, I was on trial team. Trial team is much more interested in trial level litigation or a conviction, or if it's a civil case, you were trying to argue that someone has the liability and things like that. Moot Court, on the other hand, is appellate style. So you can see behind me, this is the Moot Court practice room. There's no jury box here. This is a fairly small courtroom. Most appellate courts in the United States are going to be panels of judges. So the Supreme Court of the United States is 9. The Supreme Court of Wisconsin is 7. The Supreme Court of Ohio is a certain number. Pretty sure it's also 7. And so appellate courts are typically going to be, and appellate competitions are typically going to be 3-judge panels. So our Moot Court team, again, is a competitive team that you can apply to be a part of during your second year. And you actually have to write and compete in an oral advocacy competition in order to secure a place on the Moot Court team. It is competitive. Moot Court is something that looks really, really great on a resume if you're interested in anything like a federal or state level clerkship with a judge, or if you're interested down the road in some commercial law. A lot of the big firms like to see Moot Court or law review on a resume. So they spend a lot of time here practicing. Our Moot Court team travels all over the world and does all different types of competitions. The beauty of appellate law is that because instead of arguing a case, you're arguing maybe a specific legal point. is that the area of law can be so broad that any particular interest area of law can come up in a moot court competition. So we actually host a moot court competition here at the law school every year, which is about intellectual property. And it's actually one of the only intellectual property moot court competitions in the country. So let's swing on down out of this area and we'll come down here to an area called the Crow's Nest.
Hey, Wayne, before you go to the Crow's Nest, can you stop in that smaller classroom?
So for those of you who can see behind me, this is an area that we call the Crow's Nest. She said, stop.
No.
Okay.
You don't have to stop. Just show them later.
Law school in which a lot of people come to study, but it's also an area in which a lot of the fellowship programs hold special dinners for their fellows. So if you're an Urban Morgan fellow, they might have special dinners up here. Our law review sometimes has special events up here as well. The Center for Race, Gender, and Social Justice, which is also housed within the building, they will also hold small wine and cheese events here and things like that. We will also do, I don't know if you can see behind me, but we have a nice little area here. This is where we do a lot of press conferences as well. But some students honestly like to just come here to study. They like to come here to eat lunch. It's a beautiful place to kind of look outside and enjoy the beautiful day. We get a nice picture of the high school that's across the street from us, as well as, get some healthy vitamin D and things like that. So I'm not going to take you down there because it's currently all closed off. But this whole front wing of the law school right here that you can see behind me, this whole front wing here is actually our law review offices. Law review is another competitive, high-profile organization that you can be a part of in law school. Law review, at the end of your first year, will publish what's called our write-on packet. So you will have the opportunity to join other first-year students in completing kind of like a mock law review article. And that article will be reviewed anonymously and graded for the editorial board so they can kind of picture what your writing style is like. And then the outgoing editorial board, along with the new editorial board that's elected from 2Ls, will select between 25 and 30 students every year to join law review. That's a very prestigious thing. Like I said about moot court, a lot of clerkships, a lot of commercial law, they're going to want to know that you have spent some time doing something like law review in moot court. It's a lot of legal writing, it's a lot of legal research. Keep that in mind. But it's a really, really great option and definitely something that people should be thinking about pursuing while they're here in law school. So we're going to go into the law library now through the back door. And show you around in here. All right, so we're actually going to keep walking down to the other end so you can get the full, beautiful picture. But while we're walking, I will let you know that while you're here in law school, you have the opportunity to use two large legal databases called LexisNexis and Westlaw. For those of you who have experience in the legal field, you might know those programs. Also might know that typically they're very, very expensive to use. And while you're in law school, they're actually provided to you entirely free of charge, which is very exciting. So you get to learn to use those tools without being worried about the financial cost of using them. So here you can see our beautiful law library. It is 4 stories of study carrels and tables and books, resources that you can use. There are printers in this facility. There are some private study rooms in this building. There are about 175 study carrels, small desks in this area that can be reserved at the beginning of the year on a first come, first served basis for free. It's just a matter of who shows up to claim them. There's not enough for every student in the building, but not every student also studies in the library. It's kind of up to you and what your personal preference is. It's a great space to come get some work done. During finals, there's kind of like a quiet rule being in the library, and we actually kick a lot of the undergrads out of the library and close it down so that our students can really study and focus when finals time comes. Right now the library, of course, is empty because all of our students are studying from home and are engaged in virtual online courses. But normally there would be, at this time of day, there would be a lot of students here studying and working on their coursework, working on cases for clients that they're working on if they're a third year with their limited license to practice. And so this is just a great resource for our students, and a lot of people come here to do their work. Personally, I have also used other libraries on the campus as well. University of Cincinnati is very large, and then probably a 2-minute walk is the teacher's library, as well as the music library and the philosophy library, and they're all great places to study as well. I will shout out our library staff is incredible. We have a new dean, Dean Whiteman, who is in charge of library services. He's amazing. He's a great guy, but really all of our library team, and many of you will meet them during your first year. They are part of the first year curriculum in the legal research and writing aspects, and they are going to be really, really essential to helping you begin to understand how to formulate legal research, to better serve clients, to better serve organizations that you're working with during your summer internships. And so that's a really big piece of the education here, is how to effectively understand court precedent, how to understand statutory law, and a lot of that is going to come from the incredible library staff that we have. All right, we're going to sneak back out of the library. We're actually going to head downstairs now to the very, there are pictures of the classes of graduates from the last, at least 30 years on the wall still. And our alumni here are very engaged with this law school. And so a lot of times when we have open houses or when we have events, you'll see pictures of someone they knew, which is a lot of fun. We're actually going to take the elevator because it's just the fastest way to get down to the first floor. But one of the things that I will mention while we're standing here on the third floor, as well as taking the elevator down, is where to find our professors and our faculty. So I'm not going to take you up there, but up on the fourth floor, so just up on the top floor of this building, there is actually all of our faculty offices, if they're full-time tenured or clinical faculty. So, and they are going to have very regular open office hours. They are going to have very regular communication with you. And I have found it really beneficial to tell someone else that even though our faculty are Ivy League educated, work for the Supreme Court, genius level people, they're also very human and they're very friendly. One of our constitutional law professors for the first year teaches con law, is an absolute genius, and also hosts board game nights at his house. So there's a really nice balance of just kind, humble human beings with really, really, really great scholarship. And I think that's one of the unique things about Cincinnati Law is we have a faculty here that's able to create such a high level education without it being kind of out of touch. They're really, really just smart, dedicated, kind, friendly people who are willing to support you and do the hard work to help you succeed as well. And I have really enjoyed that. So now we're down here on the first floor. You can see behind me there are some mailboxes. I will be honest with you, mailboxes aren't as used as they probably were 10 or 15 years ago. Most of the communication that I receive from student organizations or faculty or administration is email or through social media. But we do still have mailboxes. We do every year, there's a student organization that does a Valentine's fundraiser, and they'll place Valentine's. All right, so you can see the student cafeteria area. There is vending machines. There are 2 fridges, at least on this floor, I believe 3. There are 5 microwaves here, as well as an ice machine and a Keurig for public use, as well as just a lot of general table space. Being in law school, University of Cincinnati is incredibly affordable. That's one of our strong suits, one of the many appeals that this law school has. It was a huge factor for me in making my decision to come here, is that it's just so affordable. But when you consider living expenses and having to bring a meal every day and things like that, it can start to add up. And one of the ways that I have found to save a lot of money is by just packing lunches every day. It's kind of like going back to middle school, but honestly, it makes a huge difference. And it's how I have built a lot of friendships and relationships here in the law school, is by bringing my lunch, putting it in the fridge, eating with my friends, I will say during your first semester especially, we have a lot of student organizations in the building that are based on backgrounds, that are based on interest areas, and those student organizations over your first semester hold a lot of lunchtime events where they provide food, which is excellent. And you will probably have a lot of opportunities, at least your first semester, to get a free lunch, which is great. And it's also a great way to meet people, but it's you save a little bit of money. And it's just nice to get free pizza a lot, I think. So this is an area where we have a lot of just community building and social interaction. And I think that's a really, really essential part of getting through law school while keeping yourself socially and emotionally healthy. So we're going to swing around now and just take you to see some of the first year classrooms that you So this is one of our classrooms. There's about 5 or 6 of them on the first floor. You'll learn what the numbers are very quickly. This is not a huge classroom. There's actually an expandable wall here, but I have very ever, if rarely, seen that wall taken down. Most of the time, these are going to be just one section classes, so 20 to 25 students at the upper level. These are going to be capped at 25 to 30 students. As you can see, it's not very big. You're going to get to know your professors pretty well. They're going to be able to interact with you very personally. These also have just wonderful, gorgeous windows so that there's a lot of natural light. And I have personally had quite a few classes in these rooms, actually. And it's a nice reminder of just how intimate this space is. It's a really, really close and dynamic law school where you're going to build a lot of personal relationships, not just with your peers, but also with the staff and the faculty as well. All right, so we're going to swing out here. This area is known as our airport lounge. It used to look a little bit more like an airport instead of like kind of a little cafe. But this area will oftentimes be taken over by our Center for Professional Development. There are a lot of different mornings. I believe this year it was like Wednesday mornings that CPD would bring donuts and coffee, and they would set up a spread down here. They would invite a big firm from downtown or a few nonprofit organizations or some city attorneys to come and just hang out here to meet and have coffee with students. And again, going back to if you're not from Cincinnati, it's just such an important way to meet and to interact with some of the legal professionals that if you stay in this area will someday be your legal community. It's a great way to get to know people. It's a great way to use those networking resources to meet alumni and things like that. So that's what this area is used for. Other than that, a lot of students use this area to study and to hang out in these areas. So we're going down here. As you can tell, we're getting now into some of the classes that are a little bit older, so the early 90s and late 80s. And on this side, we have very early 1960s, 1920s, and 50s. Right here, I don't know if you can see him. This little guy right here with his mustache. That is actually the class of 1899, and that is William Howard Taft, who is probably our most famous alumni here at the law school, and is currently the only person ever to have served as both president and Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, which is very cool. There's actually a statue of him out behind the law school as well. And we're going to pause just for a minute here to take a look at lockers, which when I came to law school, I was a little surprised to find out that there were lockers. But actually, that's really something that's incredibly helpful to you as a law student. A lot of people do live within walking distance of the law school. And when you have 5 25-pound textbooks or something like that, you don't necessarily want to carry them all home. And the way the 1L schedule is oriented is that you will have Monday through Thursday classes on a kind of a 9 to 5 basis, and you'll probably have some gaps within your law school day in which you can do work while you're here in the building and then actually leave your books in the lockers overnight so you don't have to lug all of them home. We also get a little bit of snow in Cincinnati. It's nice to be able to put a wet coat in your locker or to keep maybe a clean pair of shoes here if you wear boots into the building. I know some people that keep snacks in their lockers, and as you grow while you're here at the university, and you might join or lead a student organization. It's also a great place to keep organization materials and things like that as well. So I have really come around to the lockers, use it all the time. I think it's a great resource to have over here. The other thing that I think is really cool is, I don't know if you can see on the lockers, are a lot of stickers. If you come next fall and you walk in and out of these lockers, what you're going to see very quickly is that we just have a really diverse, funky crowd of people that end up coming to Cincinnati Law. All political spectrums, all TV show interests, all music interests, a variety of backgrounds and locations around the country, so many different undergrad institutions. And a lot of that is represented by the stickers that are on the lockers. You can get just such an interesting, entertaining picture of our student body by looking at some of these lockers. And I think that's a lot of fun. A lot of the lockers and the stickers stay on well after people have moved on. So there are stickers here from dating pretty far back in some of the elections, which I just think is kind of entertaining to walk around and see all of that. So once you come, your lockers are free. That's just something that's assigned to you at the beginning of your first year, and then you keep all the way through until you graduate. Two last quick stops that we're going to talk about here. This is one of our larger classrooms here at the law school. So I have had a lot of 1L classes in this room. This is 118. You'll become more familiar with those when you come next fall. This is typically going to be a 2 or 3 section classroom. So you might be in here with 50 to 60 students, a maximum of 70 students. There are a lot of upper level courses offered in here as well. Over the course of your first year, you are going to take about 33 credits worth of courses. And so what that's going to look like is, your first semester, you will be in 5 classes. Some of them will be part 1, and part 2 will come during your second semester. So during your first year, you're going to take first semester contracts, civil procedure 1, constitutional law 1, lawyering, which is legal research and writing 1, and then you're also going to take torts, which are basic civil offenses. So during your second semester, you're going to have a continuation of several of those. So civil procedure 2, constitutional law 2, and lawyering 2, the legal research and writing class. And then your second semester, we're going to throw in property and criminal law. So you get a lot of doctrine-heavy materials your first year. And a lot of it will take places in rooms just like this. This is the largest room that we have here at the University of Cincinnati College of Law. This is room 114. It is our largest lecture hall. As you can see, this room maxes out at about 150-ish people. I have only ever seen it full one time in my entire experience here, and that was for a guest lecture. So class-wise, the biggest 1L class that we have had in here was about 4 or 5 sections, which gets you to about 80 to 100 students, but that's pretty uncommon. As you can see, this room is very large. So even with that many students, you have a lot of space to spread out. You have a lot of space to put your coat down and, your books and your laptops and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that we do in this room that you all hopefully get to experience in August is orientation. So orientation right now is about a 4-day long kind of boot camp that introduces you to legal thinking, legal theory, how to study like a lawyer and write like a lawyer, how to analyze like a lawyer, and really just how to do the law school basics. I think orientation is really beneficial. I was part of orientation last year as a student leader, and I really enjoyed that experience. We got to interact with a lot of the new students, and it was fun to get to meet everybody. I will say, as a student here, as a 1L, I was very friendly with most, if not all, of the 2Ls. A lot of the 3Ls are sometimes out of the building and working and out doing externships during the year. But for everyone that's here on campus, the atmosphere among students is so friendly and in a healthy way competitive. There's not a lot of backstabbing that goes on here. It's not very cutthroat. Everyone is really supportive because we all know that once we graduate, these are going to be the people that we're operating in the legal profession with. You might need Susie to do your taxes. You might need Johnny to help you with your divorce someday. I don't know. So these are going to be really important relationships to nurture rather than to harm while you're here. And during orientation, we talk a lot about just how we want this environment to be not stressful. It will be stressful, but if we're friendly and kind and supportive of each other, it really helps make it a healthy environment. So that's 114. This is our biggest lecture hall in the building. And I'm pretty sure that actually wraps us up for the most part with our virtual tour. There's not a lot else to show you in the building. It's not a huge building. We're only about 370 to 400 students, many of whom spend a lot of time out getting practical work experience and externing and interning around the city. Cincinnati is really unique in that we have so many court offerings and corporate offerings here, from the Sixth Circuit, which is a United States Federal Circuit Appellate Court, to Federal Southern District of Ohio, to Ohio appellate courts, to city courts and state courts, and then just corporate-wise, there are so many large companies downtown that have headquarters here and that our students have the opportunity to interact with, as well as just really great firms. And Cincinnati Law produces premier attorneys for all of those different organizations in this city. And so our alumni are very much sought after they graduate. So that's my piece on that. I really would encourage you to come to Cincinnati Law. I think that this is a great law school. As somebody who moved here from 10.5 hours away, I can tell you that this city is a lot of fun to live in. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. The seasons are really excellent, actually. There's not a ton of snow for those of you who are from warmer climates. I'm from Buffalo, so I'm used to a lot of snow, so this is pretty tropical for me. I really enjoy living here. I'm a non-traditional student, so my wife is actually helping me film this right now, and we are actually able to make law school work while being in a full-time committed marriage. And there are a lot of students here who are going to be more non-traditional students who have kids, who are coming back after working in a career. And so this is a place where a lot of unique people come to get a really, really excellent law degree to go out and do just amazing things in the world. I've watched a lot of students graduate and go on and that are now just crushing it out in the profession. And I'm really excited for so many of the 3Ls that are graduating this year as well. So that's, I think, pretty much everything. Again, my name is Win. I will be here next year when you get here. You'll probably get to meet me during orientation as well. And I look forward to meeting so many of you. And please, I know that my email was in a lot of the communications that we've sent about open houses and things like that. But if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or reach out personally. I know that making decisions about law school can be really, really tricky and hard. And I'm absolutely willing to, talk about interest areas that you might have or concerns that you might have. And really, all of our admissions team is ready and willing to have those conversations with you. So if you are on the fence or if you're having some questions that you'd like answered, please reach out to us. We can't wait to help. And we're hoping that you and all of your families are just staying as safe and as healthy as possible in the midst of this crisis that's happening in our country. We hope that through social distancing and all of these strategies that we can begin to help get things back to normal so that next fall when you show up here at the University of Cincinnati, you get to experience all of these amazing things that we've shown you today. That's really our hope. And please continue to be in communication with us if you have any questions or concerns. We look forward to seeing you next fall. I look forward to seeing you next fall. Please let us know if you have any questions. And thank you so much for tuning in today and for suffering with us through all of the technical difficulties. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming.